What do we have for Capricorn? The moon. Wow. Pisces energy at the foundation of the reading, Cap. I actually wasn't planning on doing your reading until tomorrow, but something told me that I needed to do it today. I wasn't even finished collecting all of my downloads for this reading, and then all of a sudden, they just all started to flood through, Cap. We're really starting to feel the effects of this eclipse. It's like the dust has settled. There's been a major change inside the collective. There's this kind of convergence of timelines, a crossing of your old self and your new self. This is one of those moments where I feel that you're facing off with your old self. I feel that you're entering a space where you're looking back over this previous timeline with a sense of disbelief. Much like when you think about an old version of yourself and feel kind of embarrassed or dumbfounded that you were ever that person. This could have a lot to do with individuals you had in your life as well. Finally starting to realize that these individuals you've left behind, you actually never even had anything in common with. These are people that you're starting to realize you had completely misaligned values with. Something is being illuminated to you, Cap. I really feel that you're starting to see your path forward much clearer than you ever have before. There is this sense collective-wide for the individuals that have been doing the work of a kind of portal that's opened up. And this is why this convergence is taking place. I also heard right before this reading, Cap, you wanted to feel close to someone, but ended up feeling further away from yourself. And I feel that that really says it all, because you're just now coming to the realization of this, that a lot of the people that you surrounded yourself with were used to numb a kind of pain. What I mean by this is, Cap, it can be a kind of healing that you needed to go through, but without even realizing it, or without even realizing that you needed to go through a kind of healing, you just used other individuals that mirrored this trauma that you were holding. It's energy of trauma bonding as a means to fill a space. And now, with this convergence of timelines taking place, this is what you're coming face to face with. You're now starting to realize this. The only reason why I had that person in my life, the only reason why I did that, the only reason why I was in this environment is because I was trying to escape something I needed to face off with, but I actually didn't even know that that's what was taking place at the time. You can't see the forest for the trees, right, Cap? But now that you've been elevated to the threshold of this new portal, this is the awakening that's taking place in your life. And in saying that, this is a perfect example of what a spiritual awakening is. You wake up to something that you never even realized before now. That's why spiritual awakening is shocking in a sense. It's traumatic. It's painful because the universe is recalibrating the way you perceive your reality. Spiritual awakening, ascension, raising your vibration to a higher timeline is a wonderful thing to unfold in your life, but there is a kind of birthing there. And as we know, with birth comes much pain. And this is exactly what I'm getting here, Cap. Your whole new life is being birthed before you. And for the first time in your life, you actually realize that this is what's taking place. What do we have at the sacral, please? Two of Swords. Wow. Unbelievable. There you are. The middle of the crossroads. This is the convergence of the timelines. This is the path that you've been on, and this is where you are now going. And we have the divine white horse there, ready and waiting to carry you there. And this perspective that we're having over this imagery, like we're a fly on the wall looking at you, right? I feel that this perspective is where you're at right now. You finally see it. A lot of you have been stuck at this crossroads for a while. Typically we are. Before we actually make a move, because we're faced with our past and our future. And usually we're not able to make a decision in that moment and jump into the new timeline because we're still trying to let go of so much that's really trying to pull us backwards. You know, a lot of us say to ourselves, if you had the opportunity, you would go for it, right? But when it shows up, it's not that easy. And I feel that you truly understand this now, Cap. That realization that it's painful, that realization that it's not easy is actually what allows you to step through the portal because you're being honest with yourself. Spiritual awakening is not pink fluffy clouds and rainbows and sunshine. It is once you get to the other side, for the most part. But the process, right? The birthing pains is definitely not rainbows and sunshine. Because most of the time, if not all of the time, what you have to release to be able to step through this portal is mostly made up of things that you've always known. The people, the behavioral patterns, for some of you, addictions, there's so many different things this can be. In most cases, it's going to be a collection of things. Our toxic connections we keep with people lead to the toxic behavioral patterns. In some cases, they can lead to the addictions. It just really depends on the kind of influence you have around you and how deep you're into it. But whatever the case here, Cap, this convergence is taking place, and you are being given the option to step forward into this new timeline or turn around and go back. In the past, some of you may have gone back when you were faced with a similar energy. I also believe that, based off of my own experience, most people do go back a couple times before you realize the seriousness of what's trying to unfold in your life. I certainly did, because I didn't understand how energy and awakening works like I do now. This years ago, well before I was the person that I am today. But this is different. This is a monumental shift that not just a few people inside the collective are being presented with, but rather a very large portion of the collective, if not everybody. Seems like every day we're faced with choices that dictate the rest of our life. And some might say that every breath we take, every second we live, dictates the rest of our life. And I believe this is true. But some decisions are more monumental in that I feel we can take bigger steps forward. We can skip a whole lot of pain and heartache. We live inside a reality where there seems to be this perpetual need to keep repeating pain. But it doesn't have to be that way. You are being given, Cap, the option to step off the Ferris wheel and step into the new timeline of your life. You don't need to repeat this cycle. You're being advised not to, because you're needed in other spaces. You're needed on other timelines. I just heard the universe is waiting for you, Cap. The universe needs you to show up for yourself in a way that you never have before. It's time to put yourself first, for real, without excuse, without compromise, without guilt. What do we have at the solar plexus? Wow. That card could not wait to fall out of the deck. Tower, Aries energy. Unbelievable. Right there at the solar plexus, which is its home position. Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy. This is really representative of the energy inside the Capricorn collective right now. There's a destruction taking place surrounding these false securities that you've been holding on to for dear life. But because of this revelation of this new timeline and the vision of your future, which I feel a lot of you have been having in recent days, I feel that these are downloads. It's as if you've been finding yourself in a place of almost, it's kind of like a dreamy kind of energy where you're having visions of your future. That's the universe speaking to you, trying to align you with that timeline. You need to follow those visions. Pay attention to what's unfolding in your life after you have those downloads. What's taking place? How is the universe speaking to you in your environment, in the faces of other people? And I said a moment ago that you very well could go back, but now what I'm starting to see with this tower is something else. It gives the energy that if you went back, it's like another timeline kickstarts, because this is not actually written. Wow. For you to go back, however this resonates for you, would go against the divine will of your life. You'd be going against divine guidance. That's a very deep message, and I could get lost in thought just thinking about what I said there. But I think we're getting the point across to you, Cap. There is no turning back anymore. And see how we have the tree with the serpent and the apples, right? The temptation. The temptation of the past. I just heard the divine is reducing the past to ashes, so there's nothing to go back to. I only have 3 cards on this table. This energy is heavy, Cap. And if this is any indication, what the following 11 zodiacs are going to be tapping into after this reading, oh boy. This energy feels important, Cap. It feels like you're being called to a new mission. It's a new kind of life that is requesting your presence. You're very much needed. I just heard you are the final ingredient. I just heard quiet on the set. It's like you're the lead character in a play and you're late to opening night. There's a lot of panic. It's sold out. There's even a line of people outside. This kind of energy. Cap. What do we have at the heart, please? Nine of Wands at the heart. Hangman at the throat. Sag energy, Pisces energy. Yeah, there's something here, Cap, that I feel is trying to pull you backwards with this Nine of Wands at the heart. It's like the divine has parted the veil so you can see a certain kind of energy in your life for what it really is. As you can see there's, well, it looks like a bear. On some depictions it's a wolf, but either way, it's just a very threatening kind of energy. And then here you are, essentially creating this perimeter. And you know, this is interesting. I'm looking at this Nine of Wands differently than I usually do. I just said you're creating this perimeter, right? Usually when I look at that, it looks as if you're holding that Nine of Wands to use it to defend yourself, right? But this time when I looked at it, I realized that you're actually driving it into the ground to create a barricade around you. Creating the perimeter, which speaks about not putting yourself in a position to face off with this energy. Don't give this energy an audience. And then I just heard the audience is waiting for you, which goes back to what I said about opening night and you being the lead in a play, so to speak. You know, a lot of the times we may think that we're moving on from someone or something in our life that's brought a lot of toxicity and negativity, but we're still giving that energy an audience in some capacity. We're still facing off with that energy, which is really all the same. It's all relevant. That energy is still in your life. This is why it's so important that when you cut an energy off, you do just that. You cut it off. There's no being lukewarm about it, is basically what it comes down to. Because typically speaking, in these situations, we're not aware of where our time is going. And I always speak about how important our time is here, right? And being mindful of what we're giving our time and energy to. When I think back on the times before I understood this, that the devil is just really only trying to take your life clock minutes away from you because we only get so many, it always blows my mind that I allowed so many situations to take back those valuable minutes away from me, because there's not much in this world that we can't just go out and buy. As long as you have the money, you can pretty much go out and get whatever you want these days. But time is not one of them. Okay. Time is the most valuable commodity here, Cap. And I think that if you start to really keep this at the forefront of your mind at all times, it's really going to change how you begin to move in your waking life. You know, quite often I find myself overloaded with projects and things I need to do. And it can make me feel overwhelmed or locked up, you know. It's an energy of just having so many things that you need to do that you just kind of freeze, right? And what always helps me, Cap, get through that is taking a deep breath and writing down all of these things and putting them in order of importance. What will have the most effect on the collective? This is how I base every move that I make in my life now. Your impact on the collective is what needs to be prioritized moving forward, Cap. And I think that once you start to do this, you're going to let a lot of things go from your life, because you're going to start to see how truly useless and how much of a waste of a time they really are. And sadly, when you have this realization, you start to find that there's a lot of people that fall in that category of being a waste of time. It's not your responsibility to try and wake up those people to this. In fact, your best shot at waking any of these people up is taking control of your own life, over your own scheduled time and seconds in the day, and hope that maybe they'll get the picture. Which leads us directly to this hangman, right there at the throat. Most of the time when you take on this sort of position in your life, let's just say that, there's not a whole lot of support, right? As you can see here, you're suspended. And now you're seeing all these people essentially attacking you, pointing at you, yelling at you, screaming at you. And see, the interesting thing about this energy here is this is all a realization that's taking place. You saying to yourself, you mean to tell me that when I actually stand up for myself, when I actually start wanting to move in an energy of purpose and power, that's a problem for people around me? Yeah, Cap, that's exactly right. Watch how people squirm. Watch how people carry on when you decide to stand up for yourself, when you decide that your time is valuable and you must spend it on things that have the most positive effect over the global collective at large. Now, that can sound overwhelming. It's a big statement. But the way you affect the global collective at large, Cap, is by simply you yourself moving in alignment with your divine guidance and by stepping on your intended path that you're being guided to. A lot of you out there right now are like, well, what's my intended path? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, you know. You all know. Because to say you don't know means that you've never had a true heart's desire. And I couldn't imagine a single person on this planet never having a true heart's desire, never having something that you felt really passionate about that you wanted to do. See, once you start trimming away the fat, so to speak, in your life, Cap, you release these toxic energies from your life, you start to feel lighter. Things start to crystallize. The downloads come through with ease. Your vibration is raising, which is allowing for those downloads to come through because you're essentially closer to source, closer to the divine. You're raising in vibration, closer to where you came from, closer to where we all came from. Amongst all of those downloads that start flooding through are going to be a lot of things that connect you back to those true heart's desires. You are here, each and every one of you, for a very specific reason. What most of you don't even realize is that you all can change the world by merely taking control over your own world and reality. We all make an incremental difference to create a global shift. If that message could be broadcasted out to the entire world at the exact same time and everybody just decided in that moment that they had enough and started moving in this energy right here, Cap, the entire planet would shift in an instant. But as you know, we are consumed on the daily basis. We are bombarded by distraction, by negativity. Yes, it's a fact of life. We all have to deal with this, but it doesn't mean that you have to allow it to dictate your life. In fact, it should all be used to make you stronger and push forward even harder up against the system of control that is trying to consume all of us. What do we have at the third eye, please? Eight of Cups, Pisces energy, again at the third eye, unbelievable. Lovers, Gemini energy at the crown. Both cards, further reiterating the entire message. Here you are, walking away from that which no longer serves you. But this time, you are not going back. You've learned. You're ready to move on. And see how you're holding what looks to be your solar plexus region, right? It's painful. It's gutting you. It hurts. Solar plexus region. Of course, this is why you're holding it, because there's a tower taking place. A tower taking place at your solar plexus, right? Your solar plexus has to do with you taking control back over your life. A blocked solar plexus is you feeling inferior or powerless to the cycle in some capacity. It's an energy of fear. The download has come through. 8 of Cups at the third eye. You finally see things in a way that you haven't before, right? Like I said, things are crystallizing. You've gained perspective, Hangman at the throat, which allows you to finally move on and never go back. And sure enough, as you're leaving this behind, it looks like a volcano that's getting ready to erupt. It's like everything is being reduced to ashes. Wow, exactly what I said earlier on in the reading. And see how you're on the other side of this body of water? It's like what happens when a volcano erupts? Molten lava starts covering the land. But it's like you're on the other side of this water. It almost gives me the energy of you being protected from whatever this is here. So you can't go back. It will just consume you. That's this energy, right? Right there. Whatever that is for you. Person, place, thing, behavioral pattern, addiction, all of those things. And then here you are, lovers at the crown, which is an energy of alignment. This is the convergence of the timelines, right? Your masculine and feminine coming into union, your higher self being brought into union with you in the here and now. Your two polarities converging together, calibrating, the divine leading you to this new land, so to speak, the new timeline. Right, this is the, let's just say, the rainbow and sunshine, right? Like I was picking up. You leave this for that. And Cap, I just heard new levels, new devils, okay? And as I'm looking at this lovers here, as you can see, there's the tree, the apple tree with the serpent going up it. It's right behind you. It's like being depicted on this new timeline as well, which is just giving me this energy of ascension and awakening being perpetual. Eventually, you move on from the next timeline, and the next, and the next. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with this timeline, but you're certainly not dealing with what you dealt with on that timeline. But temptation, devil energy, will always be something that we have to deal with. But graduating from this particular timeline, there's a tremendous amount of discernment that you have gained. I mean, eventually you just get to the point where most of the stuff that you once would have caved to in the past is now something you would laugh at, right? The people, for example, like I said, you looking back at certain individuals and just realizing you had completely misaligned values with those individuals. Maybe even looking at people that you once dated and you're like, what in the world did I see in them? I mean, this is a good thing to experience because it really is a recognition of how much you've grown and how far you've come. It's also a recognition, I feel, that there's healing that's taken place there because a lot of these people that you've had to leave in your past, Cap, are reflections of the trauma, the pain that you've since began to heal, which again is a confirmation of coming from a cycle where maybe there was some trauma bonding taking place. You know, the universe is going to reflect your trauma back to you in your environment. So if there's things that are left unchecked or unhealed, then you're going to get people that show up in your life that mirror that trauma back to you in some way, shape, or form. What do we have at the foundation, please? 6 of Wands, Leo energy. Moomer, right underneath that moon. This 6 of Wands here is an energy that wanted you to give up on yourself. It's an energy that was taking advantage of you. Basically, that can just be seen as somebody who is draining you of all your energy, right? Just always distracted in the chaos. So you can't focus, right? This is that energy of taking your time away from you, your energy. What do we have at the sacral, please? Four of Swords, Simius, Libra energy at the sacral. This is very interesting because it's coming out underneath this Two of Swords, right? So, Two of Swords energy, you're at the crossroads, presented with the future and the past, all in a moment. You have the divine white horse waiting for you, but then look, you have the dark horse on the other side waiting for you, right? Ready to take you back to the karmic cycle you've graduated on from, or you're about to graduate on from. And you're blindfolded there. You actually can't see that white horse, nor can you see this energy for what it is, which is immediately telling me that your intuition, the downloads you're receiving right now, is your defense mechanism, is your GPS system. The downloads and your intuition are working in tandem to guide you to this new timeline, but you need to move in a very methodical manner, I feel right now, Cap. It's an energy of the divine saying to you, I step, you step. Don't move until I tell you to. This kind of energy. What do we have? The solar plexus, please. Queen of Wands, Paimon. Aries, Leo, Sag energy at the solar plexus. This is camel. Thirsty camel, right? It's like an energy that's parched, an energy that's hungry. Ugh, I just heard for a feed. Ugh. It's like an energy that's starting to drain out. It feels very parasitical in nature. And I feel that this represents all these individuals. They don't have you where they want you anymore. Right? It goes back to what I said. You start to see them squirm. You start to see them carry on. I feel like this is that energy. This Queen of Wands energy here is very domineering, very aggressive, incredibly cold. And I feel that this is just representative of whatever you've been dealing with. And, you know, for you individuals out there that may have this energy showing up in your life as a behavioral pattern, okay, this happens all the time. Behavioral patterns have spirits assigned to them, much like addictions. They're all different forms of possession that take a hold of you. You know, they don't have to be extreme. They can be very mild. They can go unnoticed. But when they all start to kind of add up, then there can be enough of an energetic block there to stop a breakthrough from happening in your life. That's why when people are really serious about going through these transformations in their life, there's many things that you're guided to do. Workout, exercising, meditation, changing your diet, changing your friend circles, all these different kinds of things, right? Because it's all relevant. It's just a complete breaking down of your reality and your waking life so a new one can be built on the ashes of the old. And see how this Queen of Wands is coming in right underneath the tree, right, with the serpent, the temptation. What do we have at the heart, please? Then we have Hares, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. This is the Knight of Swords. Oof. Criticism. So, see how this energy looks like it's about to sneak up from behind you, right? And it's right underneath that Nine of Wands, right? I feel like that's that energy. It's very important you're not letting your guard down right now, or being complacent about your security, so to speak, right? This Knight of Swords is a really nasty energy, very violent. It's an energy of deliberate cruelty. It's an energy that's completely out of control. And, you know, you may hear violent and think of physical violence. It's the first place that most people's minds go to, and it certainly could represent that. But more of what I'm picking up in this reading are things that are unseen. It's like things that are happening in the energetic realm. It's like a violent energy surrounding you in the energetic realm, which has just enough of effect on you energetically to stop you from taking the correct path, right? This can be that low-level form of possession that shows up in the form of one of those things like I mentioned. And every single one of us deals with this at some point in our lives. Most of us deal with this countless times in our lives. It's just a fact of life. We're in a constant battle. You know, when you think about health, for example, all of us are just fighting to stay healthy. And why is that? Isn't that interesting? You know, even when you're a healthy, conditioned, fit person, you're still fighting for your health because it's just the way the world has been constructed around us. It's like there's always something that is trying to break us down and attack us, whether it's in our food, whether it's in our environment. There's just so many different things that represent this energy here, okay? And sadly, that's just a part of our life, okay? And that's obviously nothing new. It's just always been like that. But it just really gives you a barometer for what we may be dealing with in the energetic realm inside this density. It gives the sense that we don't belong here, that we're just visitors here, that we're here for a mission, perhaps, right? Which is what I always say in my readings. I believe these life cycles that we live are because we're down here to complete a mission. That's all connected to our purpose and us fulfilling our destiny and the guidance that the divine is giving us. There's obviously countless different ways that it's going to show up for different people inside the collective. But what I'm trying to convey here is that it's very important that you remain aware of this, and obviously don't move in an energy of fear because that's completely counterproductive. Move in an energy of discernment and knowing. And when you do this, it allows you to navigate this reality we live in with much more ease, much more happiness as well. Cap, there is a way to have fun with this life, okay? And that's coming from somebody who personally had to fight their way to happiness as well, okay? I understand this. My life was consumed by sadness and darkness year after year. I didn't want it. It was just the path that I was placed on. It was the mission that the divine needed me to walk. And it wasn't until 4 or so years ago that I was able to step into a timeline where my life was now surrounded with happiness and abundance. But in saying that, I just want you to know that no matter what your circumstances may be at present, some of you are going to be much worse off than others, and some of you are already on your way. You're doing better. Some of you are just now starting out on this path. You're all going to be on different parts of this journey. But the message is the same across the board. You are so much more powerful than you know, and you dictate what your reality looks like. No one else. Most of you end up in karmic cycles with people where they want to tell you how your reality looks. This is you overcoming this now, moving on past this now. And then we have Miyahi, restoration of life, Leo energy, and there's that sun, right? So now we are on the new timeline. We're going to give you future energy here as we head towards the close of the reading. This is an energy of success. It's an energy of vitality, and you stepping into a timeline that's surrounded with joy and happiness. And again, here's your two options, right? Just like this. There is no in-between. It's either this or that. It's either them or you. What do we have at the throat, please? Wow. Very powerful. Two of Swords, Annuel. We have it twice now, but this one's different. God, Lord of all virtues. Breaking the circle, lifts opposing barriers, brings victory. But now we can see you are no longer wearing the blindfold, right? You go from this Two of Swords to this, which is telling us that you chose the correct path. You went with the divine. You got your wings, so to speak. You've stepped into your power. You're no longer confused or on the fence about which way to go. And you're no longer compromising with anybody that doesn't align with your highest good, your highest happiness, and the divine's will for your life. And it gives me this energy here of you being tied up, suspended, right? But then it's like you come online with your higher self, right? You have this convergence right here, calibration, and your higher self cuts you down. Which is basically just another way of speaking about you receiving the downloads, which tell you how to move in order to escape from this karmic cycle here. What do we have at the third eye, please? Four of Wands, Aries energy at the third eye. Ahasiya, God the Savior. Rectification helps one live in peace with everyone. Four of Wands is an energy of harmony, celebration. There's this emphasis on you stepping into this timeline where stability seems to be highlighted here, which I feel is speaking about some sort of shift in your circumstances with this moon at the foundation. But overall, it's an energy of alignment, and there's this very excited energy that's starting to come through now for you. Despite how the world may look all around us, Cap, when you start to step into this kind of energy here, you start to perceive all of it with a much different set of eyes. You start to realize you are down here for a reason, and that the most important thing that you can do is make sure that you are going after those true heart's desires with everything you have without excuse. Not only do you end up saving yourself, but you also play a part, much bigger part than you know, in helping save the collective as well. Our reality sees us at war with our vibration at all times. So what side are you going to be on, Cap? Because there's something that tells me that you are not going to go down without a fight. I don't care how young you are, how old you are, what your circumstances are. You all have the ability to stand in your power and go after what calls you from within. As soon as you start to realize this, you will find that miracles will start to unfold in your life to clear the pathway for you, to make said true heart's desire a reality. What do we have to close that for my Cappies, please? Three of Wands, Aries energy, Satael, the god of hope, construction of the universe, help with great works, protection from adversaries. And see here how the divine's protecting you, right? The divine's guiding you. You essentially don't even need to use your eyes to see because you're using your third eye, your spiritual senses. Three of Wands is the energy of the visionary. It's an energy of foresight, and it's an energy of expansion. You are now moving forward without delays, without setbacks, because you have followed this blueprint that we've laid out for you here on how to do it, Cap. So no matter where you fall in accordance with this timeline, I have no doubt that if you apply this energy to your life, you cannot fail. So go get them, Cap. The world is waiting for you. Cap, this is the message I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Cap. Take care.